Our opening words today are by John O'Donohue. One of the lovely developments in consciousness is the dawning recognition that we are guests of the universe, and that landscape was the firstborn of creation and was here hundreds of millions of years before us. It knows what is actually going on. To put it in theological way, I feel that landscape is always at prayer, and its prayer is seamless. It is always enfolded in the presence. It is a high work of imagination because there is no repetition in a landscape. Every stone, every tree, every field is a different place. When your eye begins to become attentive to this panorama of differentiation, then you realize what a privilege it is to actually be here. Mary will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. I invite you to light your own chalice and place it where it can be seen by all of us, if you're able. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. There it goes. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with Mary as big and as loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. So let's all sing the opening hymn, I Seek the Spirit of a Child, number 338.
I seem to have misplaced my pick.
Oh.
And I don't have nails.
I have one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it might not sound good. I have to play it out. Had it. I had it. Thank you.
I seek the spirit of a child, the child who meets life naturally, the child who sings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children for real beyond all art. May I see joy's a gift to our heart. I seek the freedom of a child who loves instinctively, who lights our day with just a smile and shines that light on all we see. Children for real beyond all fears. May I see hope's a gift to our tears. I seek the wonder of a child who sees delightfully, now clouds in cloud, now golden sun, imaginations true and free. Children are real beyond all lies. May I see faith's a gift to our eyes.
Thank you, Mary. Welcome to the Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. We acknowledge that our UUCC sanctuary stands on land that was originally occupied by coastal Chumash indigenous peoples who lived and still live in the San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation inviting speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU 7 principles. Today's service centers around the 7th principle. We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Our 7th principle may be our Unitarian Universalist way of coming to fully embrace something greater than ourselves. The interdependent web, expressed as the spirit of life, the ground of all being, the oneness of all existence, the community forming power, the process of life, the creative force, even God, can help us develop that social understanding of ourselves that we and our culture so desperately need. It is a source of meaning to which we can dedicate our lives. My name is Andy Fagan, and I am your worship associate this morning. I'd like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you're not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And please check out What's Happening, a weekly e-blast sent to all of our members and friends. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news in our community. And our reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services again, and we discovered today there are 78 of them, recordings of these services can be found on the UUCC website and Facebook as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider joining our community. Please contact Janet Cooper or a person on the board if you are interested. Thank you. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation which we recite every Sunday is both a recognition of the nature of our community as well as a promise we make and aspire to. Let us now recite our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. We set aside this time for any short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand. When either Diane or I call your name, please stand or unmute yourself and then speak. Any announcements in the sanctuary?
I know.
Oh,
Surprise.
Mary has an announcement.
Mary has an announcement. Where is that? My pick that I misplaced. Because I so carefully have it in here.
Oh.
Hold on a second. There it is. Okay. So, this coming Sunday and Monday, that's today and tomorrow, Unitarian Universalists are joining the Global Faiths for Climate Justice Mobilization, hosted by Green Faith and co-sponsored by the UUA, UU Ministry for Earth, and many other faith partners. I thought you might like to know that. Tomorrow, today, there's probably nothing in this area, but if you want to check to see if there's a local event today, you can check out an action map. And if tomorrow they're having Side with Love's virtual national action rally, UU's for climate justice, at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So if you think you might like to sign up for this, they're asking you to RSVP in advance. Just email me and I'll send you the link so that you can get the information. I thought, especially since this goes along with the topic that we're talking about today, this would be a really nice thing to let you all know about.
Wow. Great. Thank you, Mary. I see there are some hands raised out there in Zoom land. Diane, take it away.
Okay, here we go. Anita, would you please unmute yourself and tell us your announcement?
Yes, good morning. Oh, thank you all for the great auction. Thank you, all the participants. So my announcement is, as Janet mentioned last Sunday, Joyce Veron is in hospice care. And I called the place, and the person who answered the phone, she said, you can visit her. So please call me if anybody wants to visit her. And so thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Kat, your hand is next.
Okay, I announced this on behalf of the Social and Environmental Justice Group, and that is for the 6th year now, we are doing our Thanksgiving basket food collection. We're working with the Link Family Resource Center and Denilda Reyes, and Rebecca and I are going to try to fill Chris's shoes this year. So in the upcoming newsletter, you will see all the information you need, ideas about what we're collecting, when to bring it to the church, or when to have somebody pick it up. It'll all be there. It's not going to start for another 10 days or so, but you will have the information in this upcoming newsletter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kat. Lou, would you please unmute yourself and tell us your announcement?
Good morning. Men's group meets tomorrow at the normal time, 10 by Zoom. Andy, I think you still need to send out the invite.
Will do.
Thank you.
Dolores, would you please unmute yourself and tell us your announcement?
Yes. So yesterday was a great auction, but what I noticed that no one put a bid on my juicer.
Well,
So if I will donate $50 to the church if anybody comes over to my house and picks it up. Just let me know. $50 to the church. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. And I also have an announcement. I just would like to congratulate everyone on making it through another auction. Boy, this is not always easy, but yay! So are we ready for the final amount? We did really well. It was $2,579. Wow.
It's a lot.
So thank you all so much, and we'll see you next year for the next fundraiser. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you, Diane. Great announcements. Next week, Charles Varney and Alina Villa will present Environmental Justice in the South County, the story of Oceano. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as a part of your personal life, but please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. This is a time of community building. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and sorrows which may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. Our first reading is by Neil Furio, who also wrote the libretto for today's special presentation and has joined us on Zoom from New York. It is entitled Our Angels. Let's face it, brothers and sisters, for all the ink spilled over the saga of Noah's Ark, for all the stories shared and movies made and plays performed and songs resung about Noah's Ark, there are still some fairly troubling aspects to the whole narrative timeline. There are still some unbelievable claims made by its pre-Christian authors, and there are still some important questions left unanswered by those 3 short chapters in the old book of Genesis. Questions like, wait, what? And questions like, are you sure? And of course, the question to end all questions, you're kidding me, right? So, when embarking upon the ink-deep task of retelling the classic tale of Noah's Ark, you must first set out to answer those 3 questions, and this one as well. Given the unsteady state of the world, does that story even speak to our times? Remember, the Great Flood was once considered to be the punishment for mankind's wicked ways. Today's floods are proof of them. But in fairness to the subject and out of respect for its legacy, it might be prudent of you to open your Bad News for Modern Man Bible and turn to the Gospel according to the prophet Greta. And it might be practical of you to call a theologian to check on the theology, and to call a historian to check on the history, and to call a geologist to check on the geology, and to call a zoologist to check on the zoology, and to call a meteorologist to check on the meteorology, and to call the department store to check on the availability of yellow raincoats. And here's how that will go. The theologian will assure you that despite certain chronological inconsistencies, such as Noah's age being 600 years old at the time of the Great Flood, the story is in fact factual. So let me get this straight, you'll say. You believe that the earth is only 5,000 years old, but that Noah lived to be 600? No, he'll tell you, he was 600 at the time of the flood. He lived to be 950, and the earth, for what it's worth, is closer to 6,000 years old. You'll say, despite 4 billion years of fossil evidence? No, sir, you'll say, I'm questioning the word of you. Young man, he'll say, or young woman, and you'll love it when he calls you young because that'll prove you're less than 200 years old. Are you questioning the word of God? And it will go on. With each successive chat, each successive expert will only reveal more gaping holes and unholy gaps in the sacred text, which, after 40 days and 40 nights of constant enquiry, will lead you to 3 possible conclusions. 1, biblical people used to be really bad at metaphorical math, but that doesn't mean we Unitarians have to be. 2, Noah plus his 3 crazy sons, for all their efforts, were piss-poor shipbuilders, atrocious navigators, and terrible naturalists. Think about it. They released an unfed raven into the wild after all that time at sea and expected it to come back? What, to be eaten by a pair of hungry lions? And 3, the enduring power of a myth only endures to the point at which it stops speaking to the human condition. So maybe it is time to update the outworn story of the ark. With Noah's many beautifully unsinking, critically thinking, poetically inking daughters at the helm, a rain-coated choir of archangels, a deluge of angels, our angels. Let us join in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our struggles, and in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts, a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepened understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the stillness. Please come back now. Today's sermon is titled A Deluge of Angels, a video performance by a Danish women's choir called Eve. Helena Hansen will introduce this piece all the way from Aarhus, Denmark. Helena is a 22-year-old Danish woman. As some of you might remember, she was an exchange student here in 2015-2016, attended Coast Union High School, where she, among many other things, performed the role of Scuttle in The Little Mermaid, and lived with Mary and Randy Schwalbe. So she is no stranger to our community. In Denmark, she studies mechanical engineering, and in her free time, she sings in the women's choir known as Eve. Helena?
Yes. Hold on. Okay. You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. You are failing us. But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say, we will never forgive you. These are the words of a 16-year-old Swedish girl. Greta Thunberg is a climate activist who has, for many years, dedicated her late childhood and young adult life to fight for the future of our fragile environment. And in doing so, she has created a burning awareness of the life-threatening effects of man-made climate change. In 2019, she was named the Time magazine's Person of the Year. Directly relating to the first and seventh principles of the Unitarian Universalist congregations, Greta is noisily advocating for the inherent worth and dignity of individuals, and she is demanding that we respect the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. This includes all the children in the world and all their children's children who won't have a world to live in if action is not taken against the increasing environmental devastation wrought by worsening global climate change. In that fiercely urgent spirit, I offer you an international art project, which has been designed to instigate alertness and to wake us from our 40-year slumber. Written by New York poet Neil Cardinal Furio, composed by Danish musician Søren Møller, choreographed by Dutch dancer Panda van Pucci, and performed by Danish choir Eve under the direction of conductor Birgitte Neslund Madsen. Please welcome into your hearts a deluge of angels.
In the news today, the storm clouds are gathering. The tide water's rising. We suggest you move to higher ground.
But what shall we do if there's no higher ground around?
Oh, we know. Let's build a wall.
A wall? A wall won't work. The rising tides will breach it.
Oh, we know. Let's build a bridge.
A bridge? A bridge won't work. The acid rains will rust it.
Oh, we know. Let's build an ark.
An ark? Are you sure? Didn't someone try that already?
Yes, years and years and years ago.
And how did that turn out?
The reports are conflicting.
Still, an ark.
But an ark out of what?
Out of wood?
Out of glass?
Out of steel? Out of stone?
Out of fur?
Out of down?
Out of clouds? Out of foam?
Out of ocean?
Yes, an ark made of ocean. But what shall we put on our ark made of ocean to carry to safety?
Oh, we know. 2 Caspian tigers, such a beautiful beast. A male and a female to properly propagate, to constantly conjugate, to mate and to mate and to mate and to mate.
2 Caspian tigers? There haven't been 2 Caspian tigers since 1971.
What?
Hunted into extinction. But that's okay, they would have eaten all the other animals anyway.
Oh, we know. 2 southern gastric brooding frogs. They only eat bugs.
2 southern gastric brooding frogs? There haven't been 2 southern gastric brooding frogs since 1981.
What?
Habitat destruction.
Oh, we know. 2 northern gastric brooding frogs. They're practically the same, only the accent is different.
There haven't been 2 northern gastric brooding frogs since 1985. The chainsaws outlived them all.
Oh, we know. 2 Pacific honey eaters. Such a melodious song.
There haven't been 2 Pacific honey eaters since 1934.
What?
Eradicated for their spectacular plumage.
Well, shall we continue? It sounds like this list goes on and on and on.
And on.
On and on. On and on and on. On and on and on and on. On and on
Shall we continue?
You mean there's more?
Yes, plants and trees.
Oh, right, the greenery.
Never mind, the whole art concept is flawed. Just think of the food and the feed and the water and the waste.
And the soot and the seed and the untempting taste.
Not to mention the moral dilemma of moving indigenous fauna.
And uprooting live flora.
From their natural habitats, by force.
Impractical.
Unethical.
Untenable.
Regrettable.
Undoable.
Unzooable.
Shall we do it anyway? With what's left?
Yes, let's. Just so long as no plants or animals will have been harmed in the wake of our ark making.
Will have been? Will have... Can you say that?
Yes, it's the future perfect tense.
Future perfect? You mean there's such a thing?
Of course there is. We come from Scandinavia.
A kind of paradise.
A former block of ice.
A naughty type of nice.
Where gas is twice the price.
Or thrice, to be precise.
Tap water will suffice.
Speaking of which, shall we sing our favorite hymn?
Yes. Let's. Before it's too late.
Home, water. 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 Who poisoned the well? Who polluted the stream? Dumped their lead in the river. Turned the sea into steam. Who emptied the ocean? Set afire the sea. Sunk their young in the bathtub. Turned the rain into ink. Our souls in need of salvation. Bow down while I baptize our cause. In a sense devoid of devotion. We all drown in a chapter and verse. Home, 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 home. Who tainted the lake? Who made toxic the bass? Dirty creek, hill, and brookside. Turn the pond into gas. Who plotted the awful?
about our ark?
Come on, girls. It's only a metaphor, a biblical simile. The whole world's an ark. Slow motion floating, row we are boating, continentally drifting, plate tectonically shifting, ark made of everything under the sun.
And the moon and the stars?
Full of hardship and fun.
Full of guns and guitars.
Carrying everything that is and everything there will be.
Carrying everyone who is and the dreams of whoever we'll see.
Whom?
Whoever?
Whom it's the object.
Whomever we'll see.
On the waves of one love.
To remove the unmovable.
With a crow, with a dove.
To reprove the unprovable.
Once we reach higher ground.
Whether lost, whether found.
Unto Norway.
Norway. Suppose they won't let us in.
Oh, they'll let us in. Our eyes are sky blue.
Well, most of our eyes are sky blue.
Well, can't you just hide Paul under a coat?
Will anybody touch a heart when everyone's a world apart? Will anybody see us fail? Will anybody tell our tale? Will anybody start to start when everyone's a world apart? Will anybody see us fall? Will anybody hear our heart? Will anybody touch our heart when everyone's a world apart? Will anybody feel us fail? Will anybody tell our tale? Will anybody start to start when everyone's a world apart? Will anybody see us fall? Will anybody hear our call? Will anybody feel us fail? Will anybody tell our tale? Will anybody see us fall? Will anybody hear our call? Will anybody touch our heart when everyone's a world apart?
Well, that was depressing. Take heart. It's better to know where we stand.
On a metaphorical ark made of ocean.
Wherever we stand, it's better to know where we stand.
When we sing what we sing.
We know many of you don't want to listen to us. You say we are just children, and we are. But we promise you will stop what we're doing just as soon as you give us our futures back. Is that really too much to ask? Ours is a great age. You have told us an age where we have our whole lives ahead of us. But what kind of lives will they be? Most of us kids are not even aware of the fate that awaits us. And those who will be hit the hardest are already suffering the most.
Thank you all for watching. I just want to tell just a little bit about how this came to be. It came to be under, let's just say, hard circumstances. This was supposed to have been premiering live in New York of May 2020. And I bet you can all understand that didn't happen. So then, and it was supposed to be premiering with celebrating World Earth Day in New York. And so then it was postponed until that day, World Earth Day, the year afterwards, but then it's supposed to be premiering live in Denmark. But then that didn't happen. And all the way through this, we have been learning all the songs in the beginning online, but then also singing with 2 meters, meters in feet. I don't really know what that is. 6 feet, I think. 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And as this is filmed, actually, we are not singing because we were not allowed to stand that close to each other because of the restrictions at the time. So we were just mimicking the singing, and then that was recorded ahead of time and then just filmed. So actually, in the video, we're all completely silent. And we had to learn all of the choreography online with our choreographer sitting in the Netherlands on Zoom, all by ourselves. And then the location of the filming is actually in a cafe where we had to move away all of the furniture, and we were on a tight schedule because 5 p.m. there would be people actually coming in and the cafe would open up. So yeah, but I'm really happy about the results of it. And actually, we just performed it live for the first time Thursday in Denmark in front of an audience, and that was really great. But this was great too, so thank you for letting me share it with you.
Have a member of our extended family have participated in such an important work. Thank you. So, the morning offering will now be given and received. Please keep in mind that our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. You're invited to participate in the blessings of giving. For those at home, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. We thank you. Thank you, Jan. And our thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Now, let us sing the doxology.
Jan, you rock.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue.
Now, please join in singing the closing hymn, We Would Be One, number 318.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which finds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
That's beautiful. Now, let us recite the valediction. The flame of this chalice will no longer burn today, but the light of the flame within our hearts continues to shine brightly, illuminating the love felt in our community. Please extinguish your chalices at home now. After the benediction, please click on the gallery view button in the upper right corner of your screen, but please remain muted. Diane will call on you when you raise your Zoom hand. Helena and Neil will join us in that conversation following the benediction. Helena?
What?
Do you have a benediction for us this morning? No.
I don't know.
Okay. That's quite all right. You've said a lot. I wish
I didn't know I was supposed to say something now.
Okay. No problem. I wish us all to go in peace